Hi kids, it's Coach Oliver here, your mindful coach. One of the most powerful tools you have as human being is your brain. It gives you the power to be able to think and make good decisions, and it makes us very different from all the plants and animals on this planet. Did you know that when you were a baby, your parents made 100% of the decisions for you? What you ate, what you wore, where you went? That makes sense, right? But by the time you leave home, you need to be able to make 100% of the decision for yourself. Some of these decisions very important, such as whether or not you want to cheat on a test or not, skip school or smoke. You'll be able to have to decide important things such as what classes you want to take in high school, what you want to study in college, where you want to work, what trade you want to take, and who you want to marry. When you get older, the more decision you will make on your own. That's why it's so important to understand how to make good decisions when you're very young. The time to practice is now. Becoming a good decision maker will help you prepare for you when you're grown up. The mindful skills session will help you learn the process called the 4 C's of decision making. But first, let's talk about Charlie loses Charlie and see why it's so important to make good decisions about important life and how bad decisions can get us in trouble. Charlie and Pete has been friends since kindergarten. They rode bikes in the neighborhood, played basketball, and played at school together every single day. Although they were best friends, they often liked hanging out with several other friends from their class. One day after school, they're all hanging out when they start talking about the science test schedule for the next day. I'm really not ready for that test, Jeff said to his other friends. Me either, said Pete. That teacher is so mean. He tries to trick us on purpose, said Carl. I think we should trick him, stated Jeff. What do you mean? Asked Charlie. I think we should have a secret code that we use during the test to check our answers with each other. If I hold out one finger, it means the answer is A. If I hold out 2 fingers, it means the answer is B. 3 fingers? That means the answer is C. Follow me? Jeff asked. Isn't that cheating? Asked Pete. Sure is, man, said Charlie. We still have plenty of time to study for the test. We don't need to cheat to do well. Dude, what are you afraid of? Asked Carl. We won't get caught. Don't be a chicken. Bark, 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 bark. Charlie the chicken. Come on, man. Everyone does it, explained Jeff. It's just once. No one would know. You're in, right, Pete? Be a man. We shouldn't get bad grades because the teacher's jerk. Don't be a chicken. Bark, 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 bark. Oh, well, I guess so, said Pete, not wanting to be made fun of by his friends. What do I need to do? I'm out, said Charlie. I decided long ago I'd rather get a bad grade than cheat. Catch you later. Charlie turned to head home. Bark, 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 bark. The boys mocked Charlie, headed down the street. The next day, the boys were hanging out in the park next to the school, talking about the test. Hey guys, Carl said. I picked up some of my dad's smokes this morning. Let's light a few. Cool, said Jeff. All the cool kids smoke. Where's the match? I'm not really supposed to smoke, explained Pete. My dad said it's not good for you. What? One cigarette won't hurt you. Are you going to be a chicken today? I don't know why even let you hang out with us. Come on, dude. It's just one smoke. What are you afraid of? We won't get caught, explained Carl. Bark, 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 bark. I don't think we should, stammered Steve. Besides, isn't it against the school rules? Come on, man. Everyone does it. Who cares about the rules? Rules are chicken, explained Jeff. No one has to know. Aren't you in, Pete? Be a man. Well, I guess. I give it a try. Humble Pete, not sure what to do. I'm out, said Charlie. Smoking isn't my thing. Cluck, 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 laughed Jeff. You're such a wimp, Charlie. Charlie the chicken. Bark, 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 bark. You can call me names, but that won't change my mind, said Charlie. I decided long ago I won't smoke. As Charlie walked off, Pete, Carl, and Jeff lit their cigarettes and talked about how well they had cheated on the science test. On the third day, the boys decided to shoot some hoops. All of the boys played well together despite the name calling the previous 2 days. At 5 p.m., Pete's alarm was sounding off. Wow, oh my gosh, Charlie and I gotta go. We promised our moms that we'll be home by 5:15 to help with dinner, explained Pete. What dinner? Asked Carl. Your mom can make dinner. That's her job. Stay for one more game. We were just getting into a rhythm. I'm out, said Charlie. We can play again tomorrow. Jeff let out a big groan. Jeez, man, are you gonna get your mom boss you around like that? I'm the boss of me, in my life. Nobody tells me what to do, not even my mom. Come on, Pete, let's play, Charlie explained. My mom isn't telling me what to do. I told her what I was going to do and that I was going to be home by 5:15. So I'm going to do that. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Come on, Pete. We need to play. Just tell your mom the alarm didn't go off, or that you lose track of time, or that you get a cramp, so it took you a little bit longer to get home. She'll never know, said Carl. Pete looked at Charlie and looked back at Carl and Jeff. He wasn't sure what to do. He didn't want to be made fun of, but he didn't want to be late either. Well, I guess one more game wouldn't hurt, said Pete. On the fourth day, Carl, Jeff, Pete, and Charlie were sitting in class when the principal walked in. He walked over, tapped Carl, Jeff, and Pete on the shoulder. Come with me, boys, he said, and they all followed him to the office. Seems you boys have been cheating and smoking on campus. You all suspended for 3 days. I don't want you to come back here until you learn how to make good decisions, said the principal. The boys were busted and Pete's parents were furious. He was grounded to his room for the next 3 days. As Pete sat on the edge of his bed, he felt terrified, terrible. He had major anxiety and so much negative thoughts in his mind. This sucks. I'm such a loser. How did I make such bad decisions? He asked out loud. Because you didn't think them through before you made them, answered a familiar voice. Mindful voice, can you help me? I'm really messed up this time, explained Pete. I can help you to help yourself, answered the mindful voice. You must face the consequences of your actions this time, but I can teach you how to make better decisions next time. I'm ready to learn, said Pete. Being suspended is the worst thing. That sucks. What's the trick? It's not really a trick, explained the mindful voice. It's more of a process, and I call it the 4 C's of decision making. Cool. How does that work? Asked Pete. Mindful voice explained. The first C stands for choices. Look at the options you have to choose from. The second C stands for consequences, evaluation. Evaluate or think about the consequences of each of those choices. The third C stands for choose. Once you've thought about your options and the consequences, it's time to decide what you want to do. The fourth C stands for commitment. Once you've made a decision, commit to that decision and be ready to accept responsibility for whatever happens, good or bad. Well, I'm definitely facing the consequences now, humbled Pete. You have a chance to choose differently next time. Would you like to practice? Asked the mindful voice. Sure, answered Pete. What do you suggest? Well, let's talk about cheating for a minute, answered the mindful voice. Go ahead and take the stab at the 4 C's. Well, the first C is about my choice. I guess my choice are either cheat or not to cheat. The second C is choice evaluation. I guess I know now that not cheating is good and cheating is bad, but let's stop here for a minute, interrupted the mindful voice. What makes something good or bad? Let's talk about how to evaluate choices. It's important for you to understand why you think something is either good choice or not. Okay, how do I do that? Asked Pete. The mindful voice explained. I like to look at 2 things. The first thing I like to do is to look at the pros and the cons. what positive can happen and what negative can happen. The second thing I look at is both the short term and long term impact. Just because something seems like a good idea now doesn't mean it will be a good idea later on. Sometimes these two techniques can help you understand which choice is the best for you too. Do you want to try it out now? Okay, answered Pete. Well, I guess the pros or positive of cheating is that it can help me get a better grade, but the cons or the negative is that if I get caught, then I will get a zero on the test. And a zero is much worse than any grade I would get without cheating. Great job, said the mindful voice. You're definitely getting it. What about the short term and the long term? Well, I guess in the short term, I don't get caught. I might get a better grade, which doesn't help me that much in the long term. But if I do get caught, not only will I get a zero in the short term, I'll get suspended. And I also get branded as the cheater by the teachers. I really don't want that to happen, explained Pete. So, what is your choice? Do you want to choose cheating or choose not to cheat? Asked the mindful voice. Well, now that I think about it, I definitely don't want to cheat. It's just not worth it, answered Pete. So, if that's your choice, what are the consequences of that decision? Asked Mindful Voice. Well, I guess the consequences are that I might not do very well on a test. And another one is that my friends might tease me or get mad at me and they might call me chicken just like they did with Charlie, answered Pete. Ah, that's a good point about your friends, said the mindful voice. Sometimes kids make bad decisions because they don't want their friends to tease them or get mad at them. That's what happened to me, explained Pete. If they were really your friends, do you think they would want you to get in trouble? Asked Mindful Voice. I wouldn't think so. I know Charlie didn't want me to get in trouble, answered Pete. That's something for you to prepare for. Sometimes what's important to you is supposed to be stronger than what's important to your friends, even if it's painful, said the mindful voice. I just didn't know how to say no, explained Pete. Well, having some key responses in your back pocket to use when you're being pressured by your peers might help, suggested the mindful voice. Like what? Asked Pete. Mindful voice explained. Well, saying something like the following might help. That's not my thing. Boy, that could get us in trouble. We're too smart to do that. That could land us in the principal's office. We're too cool to be sitting in the principal's office. I want to be your friend, but doing that isn't part of the deal. Boy, I wish I had something like that, said Pete. Well, we all learn more about negative peer pressure and how to say no the next time. This time, let's practice making good decisions. Awesome, said Pete. I've decided that it's time to use the 4 C's of decision making to think about smoking and lying to my mom. You might also want to revisit the mindful skill and managing mistakes, suggested the mindful voice. This is a great time to learn from it and let it go. Great idea, answered Pete. Thank you, mindful voice. You're quite welcome. You're on your way to become a well respected, mindful person. Mastering staying mindful, my friend, the mindful voice said with a smile, and poof, he was gone.